beautiful woman, and it was like time to settle down and make a life and think of a career. And I wanted to get into computers, and so Green River at the time was way ahead of his time by creating a multimedia program, and they teach you the latest in graphics. At the time, Adobe Photoshop was literally in version 3 or 2 kind of thing. The computers were all Apple. We were all forced to buy Apple computers through the school, which was a big mistake. But anyways, so when the opportunity came to Green River and they were offering that, I jumped all over it. I was like, I'm gonna be. Back then, the internet still had the old modems. Remember that?
Yeah.
You wait for it to talk. It was so slow. So the big thing was the CDs. The CD readers and the old, like I said, old versions of all these graphic, and I fell in love with that. I remember dreaming that I was going to own a multimedia company. That was the term back then, multimedia, before the internet. And it was all going to be CD, Who could imagine that your telephone has, right now 20 times more than any CD you could ever create. But long story short, I'm an old guy. This is way back in was it like late 80s, early 90s, and that's one thing about me that I wish I would have done a lot more formal studying like UW and a degree and all that. But I just happened to, have the natural intelligence, not to brag about myself, and computing. And I was able to work myself pretty high at Boeing. As we know, Boeing is I feel like they own the mill in town, at the time. So when I was going there, I was too busy doing the work to go to the school for it. But I ended up at Green River, and I love the campus. At the time, I've gone back and it's really changed, because when I went, it was really, it was all woods.
Yeah.
It was way, like more woods, and they were just starting with their multimedia program. The biggest problem I had was that I had a big, wild imagination, but the systems couldn't keep up with the graphic cards, or the memories would fail, or, I'm not going to blame it, but so I got all the way towards the end, but I didn't finish it because my computer wouldn't, I had this idea in my head, and it basically, died. But I love Green River. Actually, I feel and that's, like I said, that's the only my formal college I have. So, but it got me to a lot of jobs. I actually worked for Adobe for a while.
Oh, right.
Yes, I actually got to work for Adobe, and then we were having a baby, so I needed insurance. So I went to Boeing thinking that I was going to just do that for a couple of years, and work on my graphics, and I never came out of it. I ended up staying in networking and support and programming and stuff. So it was, but I do give Green River a big, I haven't gone back in a little while, but I'm excited about Green River. When I hear people that went to Green River, I feel like, hey, it's my old school.
Yeah, right on. I remember going to being at Green River Community College, like this would have been late 80s, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And my mom had gone to school there and completed something, and some graduation ceremony or whatever, is from what I recall anyway. But it was like, late 80s. I was fresh out of my coma there, so all that sort of.
Well, you seem a lot young. I thought you were a lot younger than me, so I don't know. So.
Oh,
but
yeah. No, I'm not. I don't think I'm that much younger than you.
Yeah, okay.
But maybe I'm getting toward the midlife.
Called middle. That's what I call my car. I drive a red sports car, and I call him middle, and everybody's like, "Why middle?" I go, "Well, middle age crisis."
Yeah. I'll be 46 this summer.
Wow.
So
yeah, a little bit, but not that far behind.
Yeah.
But what did you study at Green River?
Oh, I never studied at Green River.
Okay.
No, actually, I was going to start studying at Green River at one point, and I was on I forget how the scenario played out, but it seems as though I know I went there for something to do with unemployment. I was on unemployment at the time, and we could get credit for going to this class
Oh,
at Green
okay.
River,
Oh, okay.
some reintegration into the workforce class or whatever.
Yeah.
So I went there, and the whole thing, it seemed like rather than reintegration into the workforce, it was essentially reintegrating you into the workforce by getting you to register for their school and everything.
Yeah.
So, and I was
But
going to
you
do
didn't
that,
go.
but
You
it
didn't go
never,
for
it
it.
never did pan
Yeah, no,
out.
like I said, that actually that's kind of how I went when I went to Green River. It was more of a, retraining kind of thing. But no, I the way I see it is, we all do need a little school. I mean, I know we're all talking about having major master's degrees. If the job requires it, fine. But I think the way the economics are going now, a lot more people are way more in debt for going to school.
Yeah.
Where a lot of the community colleges or a lot of the jobs now, like plumbing or electrician and all that, those guys are making some bucks.
Yeah.
Because I think it's kind of the pendulum is going the other way. Where before, yes, if you had that degree and you studied and you put your time and you got in debt and would pay off, but now a lot of people go through that, and at the end, there's no jobs.
Yeah.
So a lot of the jobs are more in the production kind of thing. And it's a pendulum. I'm old enough to see it a couple of times in my life. But what I was going to say is here, no, actually, I want to thank you. I know we're kind of, I'm watching the clock, so I really wanted to thank you. It went by fast, so the 1 hour went pretty quick here.
Yeah.
But no, what was I going to say? I kind of lost my point of view. I'm tired because like that last hour, it's kind of weird. It's amazing what 1 hour of sleep. You would think, oh, it's just an hour, But last night it's just like it was one of those deals. But I really want to thank you for having me on the show, though. I'm really excited. It's an honor.
Yeah, it was great. It was there
you go.
Whoops.
There you go.
It was, I was wondering where that came from. Anyway, it was, great to have you on my show and get to hear some more of your story. Oh, and one question I had, or one thing I wanted to bring up, was that I don't know if they're, like you were saying, 350.
Yeah. Like I said, there's several. That's one thing we are lucky about. We living in Tacoma. There's several organization groups that have been established already, because we are finding petrol fuels at the port. Right now we're dealing with expansion, and there's a detention center in the port. So it's not like we're anti-port. We just have a different vision of what a lot of people that make money out of it see it. Because we are known as a industrial city, and I get it, but we're no longer just relying on them to survive either. I mean, this city has really grown. There's a lot of economical engines in this town besides just the port. That's kind of our biggest, money producer, but the Port of Tacoma is really changing a lot too right now. There's a merger with Seattle. They brought bigger cranes so they can bring bigger boats.
Actually, it was my uncle Marty Blue. He was actually one of the guys that set up those new cranes.
I actually sat in the water and
welded
watched them go by.
them together.
Millions of pictures. So in other words, and then I really have not to brag, but I know a lot of people. I have a really good friend named Christian Eng, who was my first guest in the 1 hour show here at this station. And she ended up making history. She got elected as a port commissioner, and she's the first female minority out of 100 years. So as a matter of fact, I hung out with her this weekend. And so there's a lot of connection to the port. I believe the Port of Tacoma needs to make some changes, but also it's a very good economical engine for Tacoma. And I'm proud of the people. I'm proud of the port. We're just basically trying to conserve. I didn't say anything about the tribe because right now there's a lot of conflict because it's being built in a Puyallup tribe land.
Oh, okay.
Things like that. So there's a lot of players to this game with the Port of Tacoma, but it's I think it's definitely a something that if you are from Tacoma or you're listening to this show, and I keep saying Tacoma, but it's regional. It affects the whole Puget Sound.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, when if something was to go really bad at Tacoma, Kent, Auburn, Puyallup, anything around Tacoma, it's going to be affected because a lot of those ships bring stuff from China or other parts of the world, and they get unloaded here. I mean, if you're waiting for a new car and something happens at the port, you're not going to get your new car.
Oh yeah, I know that because my grandpa, one of my grandpas, he used to work, or he worked at the for years he worked at the port, and for the last, I don't know, several years, many years, he worked at the grain, where the grain ship, at that section or whatever, at that
Hollywood port,
part of the port. And then my uncle Matt, he works over on the other side of the port.
Yeah.
And so does my uncle Marty, and Marty's a mechanic.
So it sounds like you got a lot of involvement, and that was another reason why we kind of fought those fuels at the port, because even though they are creating jobs for people down there, a lot of their health also goes in danger.
Yeah,
breathing all those chemicals
I was thinking
all
about
the
that
time,
too,
and you don't want to see your uncle die because he's breathing some chemical that they're not telling you about. But bottom line is, it's not about that. It's more about, like I say, conserving our environment, being progressive on the fact that you can build different types of jobs. It's not, believe me, the last thing I want is one of the things that they use against you when you're an environmentalist is like, oh, well, you don't want jobs, right? But it has nothing to do with not wanting jobs. It's just the type of jobs and how we're going to grow as a society. Because 100 years from now, right? 100 years from now, the way we know the port may not even be here.
Yeah.
You know, so, but bottom line, I don't want people to remember me that I'm fighting the port. I want to remember me that I am part of this station. I'm very glad that I'm part of this. I'm glad that we're a team here with you. I'm really thankful that you have invited me to be here this early in the morning, especially when it was my celebration weekend for my birthday and the hour got shortened. But bottom line is, I've had a great time here with you this morning.
Right on. Yeah, I definitely, I knew you were, I had, gleaned little bits and pieces that you were, more a part of the community than just being on this station, having your 1 hour show. But it's just amazing that I had no idea you were on that port thing. And
like I said,
with the methanol plant.
One of the dreams that I had, or have still, and it's still possible, is that when I get like a really old man and I want to have my grandkids, and I want to have my grandkids to enjoy, Ruston Point as I do.
Yeah.
I want them to see clear water. I want them to see whales. I want to go, I'm not saying maybe eat the salmon right out of the sound, but at least there's salmon, So to me, that's very important, 7 generations, hopefully that society will work hard on, as a society here in Tacoma, to kind of work towards that.
Yeah.
And like I said, I get very politically involved too. I figure that's it's kind of a goal right now to do a few things, but I'm not going to announce it here. But it's in the works.
Right on. All right. Well, thank you very much for being on the show, and thank you very much for helping to.
I'm excited.
Thank you very much for helping to keep Commencement Bay clean, because I'm looking at getting a kayak and kayaking out there in Commencement Bay.
I got a few buddies that I want to meet.
Sound.
So, but well, let's do it. Let's go. Actually, you know what? I want to join you one of your walks or runs out there one of these days.
Right on.
Let's do it.
Yeah, that'll definitely be cool.
All right.
We'll have to do that. All right. And to all the viewers, thank you for joining in this morning and joining us for another episode, or this week's episode of Podsitive Vibes. And Jose and I are just here making positivity and gratitude louder in a podcast world. And glad we could, be here to bring you the show this morning. And with that, I'll leave you by just telling you just to stay kind, optimistic, and grateful, and have a phenomenal week. Until next time, I'm out.